Hey everyone, this is Tiqqle, and in this video we're going to talk about Restoration Shamans and the Legendaries. What is my tier list for those, as well as what's the order in which I would pick them up, depending if I'm PvEing, if I'm PvPing most, and that's what we're going to do here today. There's been a lot of questions about how do you get the Legendaries, all that stuff. That'll be a separate video, but we'll talk about what it's like to be multi-speccing as a Shaman. Because many of us as Shaman, we know we can be a healer, a melee DPS, a range DPS. How does that affect me when I'm picking my Legendaries? Let's go ahead and jump right into it. On the screen, I put all the Legendaries that are either general Shaman ones that we would think about taking, or just Resto Shaman specific ones. Let's go ahead and just jump right into it. The first one, Deeply Rooted Elements. This one and Chains of Devastation are ones where they're general Shaman ones. They're across all the specs, and you can pick them up, and they have uses across all the specs of Shaman. Some people might say, well, that's pretty appealing. If I'm going to multi-spec, maybe I should go those. The truth of the matter is this. When you're picking a Legendary, you're going to have to pick them pretty specifically. Why? Because you can only pick one every 2 weeks. You're going to have to be doing the Tower of Torghast. Now, it's not clear if it's going to be 1 week, 2 weeks, or how long it's going to take you to get enough of the currency, which is called Soul Ash, to be able to craft that first Legendary. They changed it from 1 week to 1 week, or to 2 weeks. But we'll have to see what happens there. But what is clear is you'll have to pick one first. You'll have to pick which Legendary I'm going to get first. 2 weeks later, you'll get another one, and there's a time gate to that. You'll have to farm those Soul Ash in Torghast, different video on that, but that's basically something like Visions, except much better in my opinion. So with that in mind, you got to be careful. If you want to try to get one that's okay for all of them, it might not really serve your main spec. And Resto definitely falls in that category. Resto is a spec where the Legendary makes a big deal of difference depending on which one you get for PvE and for PvP. So if we look at Deeply Rooted Elements, again, this says, shows you elemental enhancement, Resto. It has value. It does things. But is it enough for if your main spec's Resto? The reality of it is this: Restoration, casting Riptide, which you're going to be doing a hell of a lot. Riptide's one of the main ways you're going to be healing people in every form of content. They buffed it, which is a good thing for us because we did lose Pack Spirit and some other things. It has a 7% chance to activate Ascendance. Okay, 7% is not that much, ladies and gentlemen. And to be honest with you, the fact that it's random means that it could just happen if you're getting ready before the pull and you're pre-riptiding, or it could be happening if, in any situation. And in reality, there's no way to reset riptide, so they're coming off in a certain fixed interval. So in reality, this is a super RNG. And because the proc of Ascendance is really what you want for that proc heal in PvE, PvP, and everything, it kind of makes this not that valuable. You don't want an RNG based, it's just not, it doesn't feel good enough. And I've said this in the other videos I have for Ellie and Enhanced Legendaries and the tier list there. They need to change this up. They either need to make it so that when you proc Ascendance, it only gives you the Ascendance pop heal, and then they make it a much higher value of a proc chance, or they make it so Ascendance lasts much longer, because at 6 seconds, you're only going to be able to get out probably 3, maybe 4 heals with this, probably 3 or 2 in reality, if you have a long cast, heals using Ascendance. So it doesn't really make it that valuable. And so I'm ranking everything in terms of S, A, or B tier for PvE, PvP. I'm ranking this a B tier. I really don't think that this one's going to be that great at all. You could go it as a budget version, but you don't want to do that. I really don't think you're going to want to pick that. There's just some specs will be much more important to have Legendaries than others, and even on Shaman. And I think Resto is one that is key because healer cooldowns save raids. They save mythics. They save PvP. So I think this is an area where if you're going to be playing Resto, you might want to think about even locking that in first. Or even the enhanced one. The Ellie one I'm questioning. So that's this, okay? That's this one. In PvP, again, a PvP, I would rank this one. I would rank this one a B tier. I just don't think it's reliable enough. The proc isn't that great, so that's where I put it. Now, the next one's Earth and Harmony. You've heard me talk about this for Ellie and Enhance. This one is quite valuable in PvP. In PvP, it's no brainer. You want to have this. This is S tier. The first one, and we'll talk about the order, but this is really, really good in PvP. Why? Because you can be in CC, you can be stunned, and you're still getting value out of this Earth Shield that you put on yourself or other people, doing a lot of healing. I know they nerfed it. It was 300% below 50%, but this is better. At 50%, you can get one shot right now on Shadowlands. Below 75 means you're going to get more value, even if you're in CC or other things. And it means that other teams are going to look at Earthshield targets differently. They're going to be like, ooh, he's got Earthshield. I don't think we can go him. purge it off before we do our go, it could cause delays and it could just add overall value from that sense. In PvE, I don't know how great this is going to be because usually you want to keep people topped in raid situations, in Mythic Plus situations. So I'm going to put this at A. I do believe this could have value, especially when you put it on someone and maybe it actually allows them to live without you having to worry about them as much. Like on the tank, put it on the tank, you can worry about your group. Put it on the tank in the raid, you get value when he starts to go below 75% with those hits. I don't know the value though. Like overall, I'm not 100% sure where it will really sit. In PvE, I would put this as like a lower one I would get, but this is definitely one that you will see value in, especially in the raid, in my opinion. Now, next is Jonah's. Jonah's Healing Wave and Healing Surge. Increase the healing done through your chain heal by 10%, stacking up to 5 times. It means you could get a pretty fatty chain heal. And if you plan that out, you could use it at the right moment after big damage is taken by the group in PvE to be able to get a pretty good chain heal off. I think this one does have value. I'm putting it as an A in PvE, specifically in the raid. In the raid mythic testing where I was testing out all the specs of Shaman, there was a Shaman that was just casting Chain Heal, and damn, he did a lot of healing. And of course, like if you're just casting Chain Heal and you're not using Healing Wave, Healing Surges, you're not buffing that one Chain Heal. But I gotta say, it was ramping up pretty nicely. Now, in general, I don't know where it will land in terms of throughput because of the fact that I might be Chain Heal. If I don't cast Chain Heal and I'm casting with just Healing Wave, Healing Surge, not really Healing Surge, but Healing Wave, then I might be missing out on a lot of healing. So I would put it as A, kind of like not really sure which way it will lean, but maybe down to even B, so maybe an A-. Now for PvP, I'm going to give it B tier. I don't think it will be that important. It could be, but the fact of the matter is this is going to be a buff that you get onto your character, and if you don't use it, you lose it. So you're not really getting value. If you're in CC, you're not getting value. I don't think it's going to be something we're going to be focusing on. It could be kind of good with Tidebringer, which is the faster casting chain heal, but I'm going to put it as B. I don't think it's as good. Next is Primal Tide Core. This one was ranked really high on Wowhead, and I actually think the throughput will be very good for raids because it's going to cast random Riptides on people. But again, it's random. It's going to be spread onto random targets. I feel like almost in Mythic Pluses, it would be even more valuable because you at least know the set of people that are going to get it, unlike this one where maybe it puts it, I don't know how intelligent it is, but if it gets put on someone at 99% health, then it's like, oh, well, okay. So I'm putting this one at A as well. I think it could have overall good throughput. It works really well with the Necrolord healing waving everyone with Primordial Wave. Once you use it, you can healing wave everyone with a Riptide. But in reality, I just don't know if the RNG nature of the spreaded Riptide is going to be that good. PvP, I'm going to put it again. I'm putting it at a B tier. I mean, I'm going to put it at A. I think the RNG nature, again, is better when you only have 3 targets. But again, you're not going to get that much value, and it's just going to be padding heals. It's not going to be anything else. But I do think that more Riptides, more better, right? Because it does so much healing. Now, this one is S tier for certain. This is probably the best one for PvE. This is Spearwalker's Tidal Totem. After using Manatide Totem, the cast time of your Healing Wave and your Chain Heal is reduced by 50%, and the mana cost of those two things is reduced by 25% for 10 seconds. This is actually really big. This is a big healing cooldown, not only coupled with Manatide giving you mana back, but it's also allowing you to pump chain heals or healing waves. That's a big deal because our shaman needs a way to quickly top the group. Some oh shit AoE heal or even oh shit single target. And this is that button. It's on a 3-minute cooldown tied to Manatide, which is a little sad. 3 minutes. We don't like 3-minute cooldowns, but it makes it particularly strong because you can just start spamming chain heals. It will burn some of your mana, but you're already a mana battery. And in raid, I used this and it felt very, very good to start spreading the love to the group. And if we ever get to use 2 legendaries, Jonah's in this one could be kind of nice to be alternating those things around, getting big chain heal off with a fast cast time in PvE. Mythic Plus, almost needed, I feel like, at higher keys because it's going to be just so valuable when you have that oh crap cooldown, which is something our shaman needs in PvE in my opinion. Let me know what you think, by the way. I would love to hear what your top 3 are because this is definitely kind of a Right now, we don't know what World First teams are doing, what the logs are saying. We can see that, but this is my perspective. Now, the other thing in PvP, this could be pretty good. It's not going to give you that throughput through, in CC or anything else, but I'm going to put this one at an A tier in PvP, because I do think if you drop this, you're able to start pumping some heals without burning all your mana and getting your mana back. You're going to be using Mana Tide early on. I did a recent podcast with Sturge. Check the links down in the description. We talked about it, and he was saying, like, you got to use Mana Tide early. You got to use it not when you're at 20% mana, but down when you're like at 80%, so you can start to get multiple uses out of the totem. With that in mind, you could use this pretty early and top people during their go, which they're going to be using, and they're going to be using their offensive cooldowns in the beginning of the game. So I think this one is going to actually be pretty valuable. I'm hesitating to put it as S tier because it is a 3-minute cooldown. It's also tied to something that's easily monitored, which is Mana Tide. If they see that, they could be like, oh shit, kill it, the totem, and CC the shaman. Mazel tov, you're good. But I do think healing throughput will be quite strong. And so that's where I'm sitting with this one. Chains of Devastation, I'm going to be putting this one at an A+. I'm going to put it at an A because I think this is a fun one. I like certain legendaries that change your playstyle and make it so you have to do something a little bit different. I really like Chains of Devastation for the this is Alien Enhance. Actually for Resto, you don't get the increased damage. You don't get the increased damage, and you don't get consumes no mana. You just get that it's instant. This makes it so when you chain heal, your next chain lightning is instant cast, and then when you use your chain lightning, your next chain heal is instant cast. So you start doing this cycle in probably not high keys, and it depends on the throughput of healing, chain healing at the end of the day. But this one's very fun. I really like to use it. If I ever were to do casual keys or just whatever, I would use this one because it's pretty fun to use. Using chain lightning to do damage and then chain heals to AoE heal your group is pretty fun and a different way to heal. Obviously, you're going to start burning mana pretty good, but I like this one quite a bit. In PvP, I could see this one as well as being quite good. So again, I'm going to put this one at the A tier because I think that if you were to get instant chain heals out, it could be good. If the throughput is there with just 3 targets in your party, as a 3v3 arena, it could be pretty nice to just get those instant casts off nonstop back to back. It could be worth it, especially if you're careful of not getting kicked. I don't know. Again, they could shut this down if they're seeing that you're using it. They could try to pay attention and try to get that try to waste the buff when you get it, or and also if you're CC'd, you're not getting value like Earth Shield. But I'm still going to put it as an A. I think that it's going to be A because I do think you could get some nice chain heals off that are going to top your team without casting. How do they stop that? They have to full CC you. They can't interrupt you. I know you're also going to be using Riptides a ton. That's why I'm not putting an S tier, because with those Riptides and your healing streams and a lot of your passive instant cast healing, you might not be using this as much, but I think it could be good. So that's where I'm kind of ranking all these. I'll put a link down below to where I've uploaded all my tier lists of all the legendaries for all shaman specs. But let me also tell you what order I would recommend that you get these in, or think about getting them in when you're having to make that decision. Because again, it's going to be like 1 to 2 weeks per legendary you get. And even if you're doing multiple specs, you have to keep that in mind. So for Resto, what I would recommend, I'll start with PvP first, okay? PvP, absolutely, positively, you want to get this first. You want to get the Earthshield Legendary. It'll go so far, and it will actually help you if you're going to multi-spec as well, because Ellie and Enhance really like this as well, because it adds value to your entire team, and you get just as much throughput on any of the Shaman specs as you would on Resto. Obviously, you get this bonus feature, Healing Wave adds a stack, but that's not really the bee's knees. The fact is the throughput's just very nice. It's passive. It's very high throughput, so it's good. The next one for PvP, I would think about considering is, I would almost say this Spirit Walker's Title Totem would almost be second, or Chains of Devastation to kind of give that a try. I haven't tested that out too much in PvP, but I think that could be good for the instant chain heals. Now, the next one, if we're going to think about this as PvE, I recommend number 1, absolutely, positively, you got to get this one. It's just a huge healing cooldown. Unfortunately, it's on every 3 minutes, so you're not going to feel it all the time, but it's going to be a group saving and major healing cooldown that you're going to need in Raid and in PvE Mythic Pluses. It's the way that Enhance is going to, or Resto is going to be able to stay competitive and stay pushing the keys with everybody else, is through this legendary, I believe, as well as our other huge cooldowns. But this is kind of how I think. After that, I would say Primal Title Core could be good as a second option, right? As your number 2. Or potentially Chains of Devastation if you want to have fun in Mythic Pluses and not worry about the absolute healing throughput, or, you know, your Shield one. Depending on the type of content you're going to do, you could pick those up next. Jonah, it's wait to see kind of on this one, how it kind of works out. But those are the next ones that I would recommend, obviously by the tier, but just kind of thinking about the play style. So that's what I think about Resto Shaman. That's what I think about the legendaries. That's my opinion and why I think that way. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you might have learned something, especially from like the order of which you might be considering. And if you want to share what order you're going to be using, go ahead, put it down in the comments below. I'd love to know why you're thinking that way. This is just through my experiences. And I want to thank all the Patreons and all the Twitch subs. Thank you guys so much for the support on the videos and on stream. It's been absolutely crazy. We're still waiting to hear back from Twitch about partner, but we're hoping for that. But with that being said, guys, we'll see you in the next video or on stream every day. If you like this content, hit that sub button, hit that like button, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.